Hey, hey, good morning, all of you insomniacs that start your day at 3 o'clock in the morning and end it around 6 a.m. Sometimes I think that's what I do because I do tend to want to drift off first thing in the morning sometimes. My friend Chip is out there hiking. I mean, it's just an echo of reminder of how I used to do that with him, and it was great. I mean, hey, Chip, it was fantastic in many ways. And seeing the views of the sun rising over the Blue Ridge Mountains, it was just phenomenal. And the irony of it is, here's the deal, that now in my mountain meditations, I'm saying that I'm going to take time, just slow down and just enjoy the scenery, enjoy the sounds of the river or the waterfall, and not be in a mad rush to hike and work my ass off to get someplace and do it. But yet and still, the irony of it is I don't know if I'll get up early in the morning to just go up there and watch a sunrise. Just don't know. So it is kind of odd that way, where sometimes it's the things you got to do that make you see the beauty in the world and yet maybe not take long enough to just enjoy it. That's not what we're talking about this morning. What are we talking about? Well, we're talking about the fact that I don't know, deathly ill. I don't know. I had probably a 24-hour virus, but boy, did it come down and slam dunk me. And so that's all I can say about the symptoms, because I am basically very modest. But the point is, one of the symptoms was I was sleeping. And I tell you, when I first woke up, I was like, wow, this is good, because I never get enough sleep. I figured, well, maybe this is that crash bang sleep that I've been waiting for. And so that part you kind of think is good. But the other point I'm trying to make is that, during this episode where I was feeling very vulnerable, very weak, the mental part of me was like, well, don't interfere with this. Do not. I do not want anybody helping me out. Certainly don't want to go to the hospital that was kind of the biggest no-no. I just want to be here in my house, in my bedroom, in my bathroom, in my surroundings where I feel at home, where I feel comfortable, where I am who I am, even if I'm sick. So that's kind of what I'm talking about, because with Tessie Poo, my baby girl, she was getting weaker and weaker over the years, really. And in many ways, it was gradual, but then it picked up speed. But this reminded me of an episode where I was helping her kind of more and more. And, in my mind, I was encouraging her, but I was also maybe pushing a little too much, because that's kind of what I was feeling last night when I was feeling so vulnerable. I don't want anybody pushing me. You need to eat some food. You need to do this. No, I don't want anybody doing that. I know that they're well-meaning, and I'm not denying that part, but I don't want you to do that. Let my body and my own mind make my decisions for what I really need to do. And, my feeling during that time was I just need to get over it. But there is that little part that thinks, well, is this the time when it does actually happen, when, the pearly gates open and you go through them? Who knows when that's going to be? And I do remember for an instant saying, it's not all that pleasant an experience, but it'll be good when it's over. And that's what Tess, basically said. She said, I just want it to be over. And, I understand her. I understand, what she was saying and why she was saying it. And, the episode I'm going to get to is that one morning I came downstairs, as I usually do or always do, very early to get my first cup of coffee. Sometimes the flavor, the concept of the idea of having coffee is so tempting. It doesn't matter what time of night it is. I just want to go get that cup of coffee. So I came down early, and here was Tess on the floor in the living room, on the floor. And why are you on the floor? What's happening? And she said, well, I got up and I got out here, and then I she didn't really fall, but she sank to the ground, and then she said, I couldn't get up. I couldn't get up, so I just lay here. I said, Tess, why didn't you call me? Why didn't you? I mean, I would have come get you. And that's what I did. I mean, this conversation that I'm talking about here now, it wasn't quite this way, but I mean, in other words, I was helping her get up and get to the couch where she could at least be on something softer and more comfortable. And so I got her to the couch, but I mean, it's hard to know exactly what goes through a person's mind, but part of it was independence. Part of it was she's on the floor. She's on the floor. That's where she is. She doesn't want me to rescue her. I don't know if that's exactly what she was thinking. I don't know if she was too weak to call or whatever it was, but man, that hit me. Oh my God, baby girl, what are we doing? Well, what can I do? And I mean, that's a natural thing. That's a natural thing, and I assume other people, she would feel that way if it was me. But, what I'm saying is, you just don't know when you hit that level of vulnerability what it's going to be like, what you're going to feel like, what you're going to want. But I'm going to say that whatever it is you want for the people around you, please be aware of that. Please be sympathetic with the fact that that person, in whatever circumstances they find themselves, they might want to be there. They might want to keep going in that direction. I've watched a couple of movies in the last couple days, I guess, whatever. Liam Neeson is now one of my favorite actor heroes. And, he plays the kind of unexpected, unassuming superhero in Taken, and Taken 1, 2, and 3, which all were great. And then last night I watched something called Gray. I don't even think it was Into the Gray. It was just Gray. And boy, this was not a happy ending Hollywood movie. This was five or six guys that survive a plane crash and then die one after the next, including him. There were no heroics. It was really a study on how people deal with their final hours. And some of them chose it to be. Some of them decided to truncate their hours into, say, minutes or whatever. It really, truly, to me, was one of these movies that you really should see. Because not everything has a happy ending. I love Hollywood for creating happy endings. Somewhere in their meetings, they said, no, we're not going to do it. They could have very easily, they did a little foreshadowing that, trying to encourage one of the guys to keep going. The cabin, there could be a cabin right down the river. It could be just another mile. He said, I can't make it. I can't go another mile. And they ended up, instead of pushing him and pulling him, they stood there with him, and they just stood there with him for a while. And then they went. And, this was how they dealt with it. This was how he dealt with it. And, if it's over, it's over. You can maybe postpone it a few minutes or a few days, a few months. And I'm not judging anybody who does that. And that's fine and dandy. But, this whole kind of thing about, oh, yeah, he fought it. Oh, yeah, he had cancer, but boy, he fought it. So what? So what? And the irony to me of all that is that if you have all this religious belief that, oh, Jesus and God and heaven and all this, if you believe all that, then why wouldn't you just say, oh, great, now let's go. I'm excited, let's go. Because why not? If that's how beautiful it's going to be, then why not? But, the other irony of this movie was they were talking around the campfire, and one of the guys was religious, and that was wonderful. That was nice. He wanted to say something for the people who had passed away immediately in the wreckage, and before they left, he wanted to pay his respects, which was good. And then that came up again. But Liam said, "No, I don't believe in any of that. I I don't. No, I don't. I just, when it's over, it's over. Now, to me, that's just a logical, educated opinion. And probably the truth, or no doubt it's the truth. But the thing is, for me, that's very comforting. For him, that was reasonably comforting. The idea that you're going to go on forever in heaven, like this kid who died of cancer during the interviews that he was having, he thought, well, heaven sounds like a pretty boring place. It's just a matter of, this is what we know, and what comes after this we don't know. So we're great storytellers, so we tell a story or two about it, and next thing those stories gain momentum, and they take on their own kind of power, and people in the business of, we'll call it storytelling, take control and power over it. And these are the things that I resent. My heaven is heaven for all. My heaven is, it's over. It's as peaceful and calm and tranquil and beautiful as it was before I was born. There are no worries, there are no regrets, there's no memories, there's no looking back and saying, oh my God, I wish I did this or that. There's nothing. There's just nothing. And nothing is heaven. Nothing is heaven. And why not look forward to that? Not look forward to it, but why dread that? So I don't. Now, in this little, 24-hour episode where I was feeling so sick and just, wow, my God, kind of violently sick. And wow, what is this? Those were not fun moments. And, like I said, it crossed my mind, well, when is that moment going to be the final moment? And it didn't really hit me that this would be it. But I was thinking, well, what if it was? I mean, what greater story should there be, unless it was to get you from behind where you didn't know it was coming? Like a plane lands on you and you don't hear the engine. But, anyway, this is my memories of Tess, and how much I loved her, and how much, as our days, reached the end, and we didn't know that at the time, but, we knew things weren't good. But she was a very, very independent person. She prided herself on being independent. She was just as needy as any of us in some ways, but very selective in how she would be that way. And I don't know if she wanted me to help her that night and just couldn't reach out, or if she was maybe comfortable enough in her circumstance to just wait it out, or maybe she wasn't thinking at all. Maybe she had passed out. I don't know. But I know when I found her, I was worried. I was a wreck. Not a wreck, but I was like, oh my God, now how did you get here? Why didn't you call me? All of that. And then I did what I, could do to get her in a more comfortable spot. And, she had passed out another time when we were coming home from a restaurant with David and Debbie, and we were just walking up the side to get into the house, and suddenly she was on the ground. I didn't even see it happen. I was looking back at the car, I guess, but I was locking the car. I don't know what, but I turned around. There she is on the ground. She just fell to the ground, and she lay there for a few seconds, and I was, trying to, coddle her head and so forth and hold her up a little bit. And she, as she came to, or as she was talking, I said, honey, you want me to call 911? Should I call 911? She said, no, I don't want you to call 911. And now here's the deal. If it had gone a few more minutes, I would have called anyway, or I would have called if she wasn't protesting. But the thing is, she didn't want 911. She didn't want all that. She didn't want it when she actually passed away. She let us take her to the hospital. She didn't fight us. And that much I'll credit her, because I can see where she wouldn't want to go at all. And if she hadn't gone, it wouldn't have changed much, in a sense that we would have called in hospice on our own, probably. But this gave us that final wording from doctors to say, this is it. This is it. She has cancer. The cancer has spread. We don't know where it started. And, it's a moot point. She had held it in her for months, probably years. And when it finally took hold of her, where it wouldn't let go, she was still in charge of her own life, her own thoughts, her own mind, and her own will. And she was not a mean or bossy person. I'm not saying those things at all, but I am saying that we had, a relationship where we respected each other's feelings and we tried to abide by them. And, maybe I tried to shape them here and there and vice versa. She could be much more forceful in that respect, but, it's just funny. But my point is, you live the best life you can live. That's all I want to do. Leave this tiny little footprint and, make it a pretty good one. That's why I'm doing all this crap, because it's fun, it's entertaining, it's not hurting anybody, and it uses my time and my energy. So here I am making little finger paint swirls and talking about myself. But everybody, does what they want to do. And, for me, I want to do something nice, something a little bit, fun, nice, whatever. And thank God for the friends I have. Thank God for the love I had with Tess, and for the love I feel for the people in my life right now. Because all of these people have made my life worthwhile, have given it some level of meaning and purpose. And I'm going to leave. I don't see the timer up here for some reason. But anyway, I'm going to stop and hope this was recorded, and we'll talk to you soon.